My name is Josie Millward. My husband and I, with our three sons, we lived in Korea in 1997, 1998, and we lived in Chongcheongbuk-do in Danyang. My husband and I first visited Busan and the UN Memorial Cemetery in 2015, and on that visit we looked at the Wall of Remembrance and we found the name of my husband's cousin who went to Korea and died in the Korean War and is buried at the UN Cemetery in Busan. My husband's got an unusual name, Millward, and when I got married I took his name. And most of the Millwards in Australia are related to each other. So Toby Millward was my husband's grandfather's cousin. So obviously he died before my husband was born, and the family didn't know very much about him. His platoon commander was interviewed before he died, and the interview is on the Australian War Memorial webpage. So I've listened to it and read the transcript as well. I first saw them online at the Australian War Memorial. Has many photos of Korea, but I ordered the higher resolution, the better photo. And his niece's husband was on Facebook, and he said this was Toby Millward, and that's the one that I thought. So Toby Millward was from Kalgoorlie, and he was what's called a 5-year soldier in World War II. And when he came back from World War II, he worked at a gold mine and also at an asbestos mine. And then in August 1950, he enlisted again for the Australian forces to go to Korea. And he arrived in Busan with the first Australians on the 28th of September 1950. There was heavy fighting at Kapyon, and the platoon commander, who was Lieutenant From, he said, "Don't be careful, men, don't walk over there because there's Chinese snipers." And Toby, perhaps he didn't hear him, and he walked and he was shot in the abdomen by a Chinese sniper as he was walking over open ground. To get the injured men out, and so by the time they could come back in, he had passed away. And his platoon commander described him irascible at times, and he was forthright and although liked and admired by the men, he was a little feared too. He was very good at what he did, but he wasn't always very good at obeying all the little rules. In 1945, when he was doing some training in New Guinea, there was a report from the training, from the leader of the training, and that describes him as not a parade ground soldier, but a very good fighting soldier who has good courage and can lead men. On the 14th of April 1941, they knocked out 2 German tanks at Tobruk using a 2-pounder gun when they were in the anti-tank regiment.
So, how did you go to Korea in 1997, and do you have any memories?
We went to Korea, my husband got on the Koteso project. He taught English to students at the middle school and the elementary school in Danyang. In Korea, housing is very expensive, and housing was cheaper for a family in Danyang. So that was the reason we went to Danyang, because we had the children. And we were very fortunate to live in Danyang because it is so beautiful. And Korea at that time, Danyang was very traditional. Every Sunday, almost all the old ladies would wear their hanbok when they went to church. They had the traditional market that went, the 5-day market, and it was a very good place to have, to live for several years with little children, because there were lots of beautiful things to do outdoors.
So when you went to the Busan, why did you choose to go to UN Cemetery? Did you actually knew there was a dad's distant relative was there?
Oh no, we always wanted to go to the UN Cemetery. We didn't know, but we wanted to go to the UN Cemetery to pay respect to the Australians who died in Korea.
So what do you think about, because there's a lot of, you share a lot of things with Korea, like because you went to Danyang, also you didn't realize that relatives also participate in Korean War, and then your youngest son married to Korea. What do you think of that?
And our grandchildren are Korean. I think that's been very good, and I think because we lived in Korea, perhaps we have a greater appreciation than other people in Australia.
Mom actually researching about the Korean War, and what do you feel that with all the information that Mom found? Like, how do you feel about that?
I'm really pleased, because it was by accident that we found out about Toby Millwood, and I was so surprised to see how much of a link Australia and Korea have. And it's been very interesting reading about some of these West Australians who I didn't know about them, and now I know quite a bit, and it's because of the research that Josie's doing. So I'm very pleased.
You as a person has a very close relationship with Korea. What do you think of that?
I'm really pleased. I didn't think when we first went overseas to teach English, and then we went to South Korea, I didn't think for a moment that I would have such a long-term involvement with Korea. And I think I'm really lucky to have a Korean daughter-in-law. And I'm so pleased with our grandchildren, and she's got values from both cultures, which I think is really, really good.
Late last year, when I finished work, when I retired, I thought, which other Western Australians went to Korea? Because it was a lot of work finding out about Toby Millwood, and I thought people have forgotten the stories about these men who went to fight for Korea, because Korea was a forgotten war. I thought it was important that the West Australians who died in the Korean War to collect their stories, because their names are on a memorial, and many of them have graves in Busan, but over the years we have forgotten their stories, because many of these servicemen were young, and most of them were not married. The Family History Association have a group of people interested in military history. I joined 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm going to talk about the West Australians killed in the Korean War, because this year is the 70th anniversary.
So now you're running a blog and everything. Do you have any goal for a future goal, and what do you want to achieve from it?
Oh, I am on a time frame, because I want to get most of this done by the 27th of July. And then I think I will have to go to Melbourne to read some files. From my blog, I want to do Facebook posts for each of the men, and I'm going to also write an article for the Family History Journal. Beyond that, I'm not sure.